I'll share the screen. Can you see the screen?
Not yet, Prabhuji. Yeah, it's loading, I think. Not yet.
Yeah. So this is second chapter. So I'll also
Prabhuji,
show
your
you,
screen is not visible yet.
yeah, I'll also show you the the themes of the second chapter, so you'll have idea what we are doing. So yeah, so this is a second chapter. Show the theme as well. Yeah, so this is. Let me share the theme. So we did the first chapter, and now we're in the second chapter. So Arjuna, being grief stricken, decides not to fight. Still, where we discussed, and so going to the next chapter. So this is how the Gita, contents of Gita summarized. This is the second chapter. So one of the biggest chapters. So 1 to 3. So first to 10 verses. Arjuna indecision and accepting Lord Krishna as his guru. And that 1 to 3, Lord Krishna chastises Arjuna and disapproves his so-called compassion. 4 to 6 will be Arjuna's further doubts and confusion. 7 to 10, Arjuna surrenders to Krishna and Krishna begins to speak. And then 11 to 30 will be Jnana and Sankhya, analysis of body and soul, matter and spirit. It's a big section. And this you'll have don't lament unnecessarily on all individuals exist eternally and changing bodies is natural. Tolerate difficulties, equanimity is eligibility for liberation. The soul never dies and body is perishable. Changing bodies is similar to changing clothes. Qualities of the eternal soul, birth and death are inevitable. No need to lament for the eternal soul. 31 to 37 is Kama Karma. Performing prescribed duty gives enjoyment. So 31st, 32, doing prescribed duty of fighting open doors for heaven. 33, 36, by avoiding fight, you will incur sin, infamy, and criticism. Benefit of fight, kingdom in victory and heaven in defeat. It's a kind of like answering also Arjuna's questions also in this chapter. Then 38 50 to 53, Nishkam Karma Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, detached work without reactions, dutifully fighting with equanimity, no sin. And Buddhi Yoga, no loss in this yoga. Vyasatmika, intelligence, and Vedic Karma Kanda, how to practice Nishkam Karma Yoga, and benefits of acting in Buddhi Yoga. Then Sthita Pragya. So Arjuna's question, qualities of a liberated soul. So Arjuna's questions about Sthita Pragya, symptoms of Sthita Pragya, Sthita Pragya's response to dualities, Sthita Pragya's sense control, Sthita Pragya's sense engagement, walking. So what about his sense control? That is that he withdraws senses like tortoise. Sense control is difficult even for the wise and is possible only with Krishna Bhakti. One falls down in 8 stages due to uncontrolled mind. And by attaining the Lord's mercy, when his silence is established and one attains peace. So engagement. Agitated senses carry away intelligence and Sthita Pragya is unagitated, according to the destination of Sthita Pragya. This is how the chapter ends. So this chapter is contents of Gita summarized because it describes the subject matters of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and a glimpse of Bhakti Yoga. These very topics are discussed in the entire Gita. In this chapter, Lord Krishna presents an analytical study of the better body and spirit soul, Jnana or Sankhya, working with and without attachment to results, Sakama and Nishkama karmas, and the characteristics of a person fixed in the conception of the real self, that is Sthita Pragya. So this is how it's going to happen. So let us start with chapter. Chapter 1 is done. Chapter 2. Chapter 2. Contents of the Gita summarized. Arjuna submits to Lord Krishna as his disciple, and Krishna begins his teachings to Arjuna by explaining the fundamental distinction between the temporary material body and eternal spiritual soul. The Lord explains the process of transmigration, the nature of selfless service to the Supreme, and the characteristic of a self-realized person. Yeah, so a lot of portion will be discussed about fundamental distinction between the temporary material body and the eternal spiritual soul. And then also Lord will tell about process of transmigration, the nature of selfless service to Supreme, and the characteristics of a realized person. So verse 1. संजय उवाच तं तथा कृपयाविष्टम् अश्रुपूर्णाकुलेक्षणं शीदन्तमिदं वाक्यम् उवाच मधुसूदन. Translation. Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna, spoke the following words. Purport. Material compassion, lamentation, and tears are all signs of ignorance of the real self. Compassion for the eternal soul is self-realization. The word Madhusudana is significant in this verse. Lord Krishna killed the demon Madhu, and now Arjuna wanted Krishna to kill the demon of misunderstanding that had overtaken him in the discharge of his duty. No one knows where compassion should be applied. Compassion for the dress of a drowning man is used senseless. Similarly, a man fallen in the ocean of nescience cannot be saved simply by rescuing his outward dress, his material body. One who does not know this and laments for the outward dress is called a Shudra, or one who laments unnecessarily. Arjuna was a Kshatriya, and this conduct was not expected from him. Lord Krishna, however, can dissipate the lamentation of the ignorant man, and for this purpose the Bhagavad Gita was sung by him. This chapter instructs us in self-realization by an analytical study of the material body and the spirit soul, as explained by the Supreme Authority, Lord Sri Krishna. This realization is possible when one works without attachment to fruitive results and is situated in the fixed conception of the real self. So material compassion leads to lamentation and tears, which is because of the ignorance of the real self. So compassion for the eternal soul is self-realization. That is very important. Many times people in this world are very eager to be compassionate, want to give free food, clothing, but they have no understanding of soul, what is the real benefit for the soul. Prabhupada saying that just trying to be compassionate on the body platform is like compassion for the dress of a drowning man, and which is useless. So man falling in the ocean in a sense cannot be saved by risking his outward dress material body. So that's why the first thing is to know that we are not the body, we are soul, and then how we can work for benefiting soul. So, and this realization that how the soul is different from the body, this realization is possible when works without attachment to fruitive results and is situated in the fixed conception of the real self. We'll go next text to Sri Bhagavan Vacha Kutastva Kashmalamidam Vishame Samupasthitam Anaryamajustam Aswargyam Akirtim Karam Arjuna. So here Krishna is chastising Arjuna. So this is the first time Lord Krishna is speaking. The 2.2 is the first time Krishna is opening his mouth. Till now Krishna was not speaking because Arjuna did not ask him. They say one should give advice when he is hired. So one thing is when not hired. If you speak, sometimes people may not take your word seriously. But they ask for, then you give them direction, it becomes, they may be able to take it. So we sometimes as a friend, as a philosopher, as a guide, we may have to, be watchful, and we can see when the person is ready. Sometimes when you keep telling too much, that person runs away only. So it requires very mature understanding about when to advise, whom to advise, and there should be some willingness. Sometimes you can also go and advise. Sometimes person may not ask also, but you have to see his response. If he is willing to take advice, then we can. But if he is closed and he is thinking he does not need, Even if you advise him without having his eagerness, it will not help him. Sometimes he may become more angry also sometimes. So here Arjuna, Lord is actually patiently hearing so many arguments of Arjuna. Arjuna is finally confused and himself seeking shelter. Krishna is ready to speak now. Translated, the Supreme Personality God it said, "My dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets but to infamy." Yeah. Of course, here Krishna is speaking from Karma Kanda perspective. What kind of other things you are saying, actually this lead to infamy. You won't go to higher planets, but it leads to infamy. So purport, Krishna and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are identical. Therefore, Lord Krishna is referred to as Bhagavan throughout the Gita. Bhagavan is the ultimate in the absolute truth. Absolute truth is realized in three phases of understanding, namely Brahman or the impersonal all-pervasive spirit, Paramatma or the localized aspect of the Supreme within the heart of all living entities, and Bhagavan or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.11, this conception of the absolute truth is explained thus. Vadanti tat tattvapidas tattvam yakyanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwan iti shabdate. The absolute truth is realized in three phases of understanding by the knower of the absolute truth, and all of them are identical. Such phases of the absolute truth are expressed as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. These three divine aspects can be explained by the example of the sun, which also has three different aspects, namely the sunshine, the sun surface, and the sun planet itself. One who studies the sunshine only is the preliminary student. One who understands the sun's surface is further advanced. And one who can enter into the sun planet is the highest. Okay, so ordinary students who are satisfied by simply understanding the sunshine, its universal pervasiveness, and the glaring effulgence of its impersonal feature may be compared to those who can realize only the Brahman feature of the absolute truth. The student who has advanced still further can know the sun disk, which is compared to knowledge of the Paramatma feature of the absolute truth. And the student who can enter into the heart of the sun planet is compared to those who realize the personal features of the supreme absolute truth. Therefore, the bhaktas or the transcendentalists who have realized the Bhagavan feature of the absolute truth are the topmost transcendentalists, although all students who are engaged in the study of the absolute truth are engaged in the same subject matter. The sunshine, the sun disk, and the inner affairs of the sun planet cannot be separated from one another. Yet the students of three phases are not in the same category. The Sanskrit word Bhagwan is explained by the great authority Parasar Muni, the father of Vyasdev. The Supreme Personality who possesses all riches, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation is called Bhagwan. There are many persons who are very rich, very powerful, very beautiful, very famous, very learned, and very much detached, but no one can claim that he possesses all riches, all strength, etc. entirely. Only Krishna can claim this because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No living entity, including Brahma, Lord Shiva, or Narayana, can possess opulences as fully as Krishna. Therefore, it is concluded in the Brahma Samhita by Lord Brahma himself that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one is equal to or above him. He is the primeval Lord or Bhagwan known as Govinda. He is the supreme cause of all causes. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Can somebody read the translation?
There are many personalities possessing the qualities of Bhagavan, but Krishna is the supreme because none can excel him. He is the supreme person and his body is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. He is the primeval Lord Govinda and cause of all causes.
Yeah, this is Brahma Samhita 5.1. In the Bhagavatam also there is a list of many incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but Krishna is described as the original Personality of Godhead, from whom many incarnations and personalities of Godhead expand. So Krishna is the original. So the many list of incarnation, Krishna is the original. Ete cham sakala pumsam Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrani Yakulam Lokam Hridayanti Yuge Yuge. Somebody can read the translation?
All the lists of incarnations of Godhead submitted herewith are either plenary expansions or parts of the plenary expansions of the Supreme Godhead, but Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead
Yeah.
himself.
Yeah. So Ete cham sakala Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So Krishna is the Lord himself, and all others are whatever is listed is an expansion or plenary expansion of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord only by the expansions. But original Krishna, original personality of Supreme Personality Godhead is Krishna. Therefore, Krishna, the original Supreme Personality Godhead. So, the many Supreme Personality Godhead, but original is Krishna. And all are one only in that one sense. Yeah, the absolute truth, the source of both the super soul and the impersonal Brahman. In the presence of the Supreme Personality Godhead, Arjuna's lamentation for his kinsman is certainly unbecoming. And therefore, Krishna expressed his surprise with the word kutaha, where from? Such impurities were never expected from a person belonging to the civilized class of men known as Aryans. The word Aryan is applicable to persons who know the value of life and have a civilization based on spiritual realization. Persons who are led by the material conception of life do not know that the aim of life is realization of the absolute truth. Vishnu or Bhagwan, and they are, okay, I'm sorry. Persons who are led by the material conception of life do not know the aim of life is realization of the absolute truth, Vishnu or Bhagwan. And they are captivated by the external features of the material world, and therefore they do not know what liberation is. Persons who have no knowledge of liberation from material bondage are called non-Aryans. Although Arjuna was a Kshatriya, he was deviating from his prescribed duties by declining to fight. This act of cowardice is described as befitting the non-Aryans. Such deviation from duty does not help one in progress of spiritual life, nor does it even give one opportunity to become famous in this world. Lord Krishna did not approve the so-called compassion of Arjuna for his kinsmen. Sometimes Prabhupada would ask his disciples, what are the use of you all being Americans if you can't do something big? Now, Prabhupada only taught you're not the body, your soul. And then he's saying, what are the use of you being Americans? So he's saying that you're Americans. so, so sometimes, the highest thing what a pure devotee or Krishna may want, he is to do some activity, let's say whatever. And he may use different logics to help one understand. From that perspective also, you should do this. No? He may give a logic like that. Yesterday I was explaining about it, no? Like that. But the devotee is only concerned about if that is Krishna desire is good enough for me. It's good enough reason for me. He doesn't worry about so many other dharmas. But sometimes the superiors or Krishna may also talk about certain more from more angles that how that is to be done only. Like here, Krishna may say that no, this kind of deviation from the duty will not help you the progress of spiritual life, nor does it even give, nor it once it gives one even the opportunity to become famous in this world. Now, Arjuna doesn't want to become famous, but Krishna is making a side point, and he's saying, and he says even that like previous verse also he says that no, in this verse only saying akirti, akirti karma Arjuna. And they are not befitting man who knows value. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy. So Arjuna is not wanting to go to higher planets, heavenly planets. No? But Krishna is just making a point, just to convince him to the point of fighting. The next further chastisement continues. Yeah. So here's some salient point. Any salient point which you can get is like first thing is about Bhagwan when came. Prabhupada explains about Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagwan. The three phases, the three aspects of absolute truth. So in order, like it is in hierarchy. First Brahman, then Paramatma, and Bhagwan. Bhagwan is the highest realization of the absolute truth. So that is explained with the example of sun. Sunshine, sun disk, and sun globe. One can enter into sun globe. So that is the full realization of sun is sun globe. So Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagwan, is the highest realization of the absolute truth. And also he says that Arjuna should have not got deviated from his duty to execute on the order of Krishna. His lamentation for his kinsman is certainly unbecoming because he is acting on bodily conception of life, material conception of life. So, and thus such kind of people cannot understand the Supreme Lord properly. And they are captivated by the external energy of the Lord. And they cannot understand what is liberation, what is good for them. And they're non-Aryans. But Aryans are supposed to know what is to be done, what is the purpose of life, who is he, who is God, everything. It's called real Aryans. Yeah. So text 3, Klabyam Vyamma Smagamaha Parthana Tatyapa Padyate Chudram Hitare Dorbalyam Takto Tishtaparantapa. Osana Pratha, do not yield to this degrading importance. It does not become, okay, somebody want to read the translation?
O son of Pruta, do not yield to this degrading importance. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness and of heart and rise, O chastiser of the enemy.
Yeah. So he's telling do not yield to this degrading importance. It's a very heavy word actually, Klabyam. You can see very, very heavy chest. Purport. Arjuna was addressed as a son of Pritha, who happened to be the sister of Krishna's father Vasudev. Therefore, Arjuna had a blood relationship with Krishna. If son of a Kshatriya declines to fight, he is Kshatriya in name only. If the son of a Brahmana acts impiously, he is a Brahmana in the name only. Such Kshatriyas and Brahmanas are unworthy sons of their fathers. Therefore, Krishna did not want Arjuna to become an unworthy son of a Kshatriya. Arjuna was the most intimate friend of Krishna, and Krishna was directly guiding him on the chariot. But in spite of all these credits, if Arjuna abandoned the battle, he would be committing an infamous act. Therefore, Krishna said that such an attitude in Arjuna did not fit his personality. Arjuna might argue that he would give up the battle.
You're muted, Prabhu.
Sorry. So he says that, yeah, if a son of a Kshatriya declines to we did. Arjuna was the most intimate, Kshatriya and Brahma, okay. Yeah, Arjuna was the most intimate friend of Krishna, and Krishna was directly guiding him on the chariot. But in spite of all such credits, all these credits, if Arjuna abandoned the battle, he would be committing an infamous act. Therefore, Krishna said that such an attitude in Arjuna did not fit his personality. Arjuna might argue that he would give up the battle on the grounds of his magnanimous attitude for the most respectable Bhishma and his relatives. But Krishna considered that sort of magnanimity mere weakness of heart. Such false magnanimity was not approved by any authority. Therefore, such magnanimity or so-called non-violence should be given up by persons like Arjuna under the direct guidance of Krishna. So false compassion is not approved because that is born on bodily conception of life. Like one more example of false compassion is in Srimad Bhagavatam is about Bharat Maharaj, where he also became attached to deer. So he could have maybe saved the deer and just left the deer in the jungle, when he's properly taken care of for some time, when his wounds are healed and he's good. So sometimes one may become attached, on bodily platform, and that kind of false compassion, false attachment leads to degradation, because one will not able to execute his spiritual duties properly. So one should be willing to forego his false compassion based on bodily platform, like that. So compassion is good, but one should know how to be compassionate also. So I gave the example of I gave the example yesterday of that elder sister having compassion on the younger brother having fever, and she agrees to give the pakoda to the younger brother if he is demanding for it, even though he's a fever. So that is false compassion. So like that. So false magnanimity is not approved. So all these virtues, we should have a Krishna conscious purpose. So all the virtues are good if it is benefiting the soul in his Krishna consciousness. Then those virtues are good. Like once there was one child, so he was very much pampered by his mother, all through his life. And then the child would he'd do some little bad things, and so, and then mother would not be so much, she'd be so lenient. And then after a long time, when he became young, then he did some murder and all that, and he got into so much of wrong crime, bad crime and all. And then he was supposed to be hanged. And then he was asked, what is the last wish of yours? He said, I want to just speak to my mother. And then mother was asking, he wants to speak to you because you're going to leave now. He's supposed to be hanged. Then mother came. Then the son went close to the mother, and he bit the ear. He bit the ear of the mother. And the mother said, "What? What are you doing?" Then he said, all throughout my life, I've been like in my childhood, I would be little bit doing pickpocketing, but you did not correct me, And then I was then stealing some other good, bigger things from others neighbors. You did not punish me or give me any kind of corrections. And because you did not do any correction, now I've become such a big criminal. So you also share the credit. So I just wanted to tell you this. So you can see how that though he was a big criminal, but he's able to think that, oh, I should have got some some kind of punishment, some kind of correction, then I would have not got into such case. So sometimes those who are on the leadership position, or those who are having responsibility of some subordinates, so sometimes there is a matured way of acting by being sometimes strict also. When there's too much of leniency can spoil. It says, spare the rod, spoil the child. So we have to be balanced. We have to be considerate. At the same time, we should be ready to tell frankly, what is benefiting to the person in a mature way. We shouldn't be like just sentimentally going on. So both are important. Like here, Krishna is very frankly telling Arjuna about the mistake what he's doing. And of course, the person should be ready to hear also, as we discussed before. That's why the maturity is required. How we don't offend the person, how we don't unnecessarily hurt the person. At the same time, we actually, very sincerely and honestly thinking about his well-being. We can, we can correct sometimes. If you're a teacher, if you're a parent, you're a husband. So we can do that. So I will show you a nice quote that will help you to understand what I'm saying. So how with consideration, with being considerate, you can also offer some correction. So that's not a problem. I'll show you. Recently got it. The devotee sent it. Very nice. Show you. This one. See, this is very good. I'm going to share the screen. You can see. It says correction is necessary, but the way we correct decides whether we build people or break them. You're able to see?
Yes, Prabhu.
This is His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj once shared, अपना बनाकर सिखाना चाहिए. Before correcting, make the person feel like your own. Like Krishna is telling, Arjuna, such a nicely he's saying that, your son of Pratha, and he is giving him due respect. So before correcting, make the person feel like your own, just as a craftsman softens metal by holding it from within. A leader must first hold the heart before shaping the mind. When you appreciate someone genuinely and then lovingly point out their mistake, it does not hurt, it heals. The person feels he values me, that's why he corrected me. This is correction with compassion, firm like an iron fist, yet soft like velvet gloves. Everyone wonders deep down, does he like me or not? Once people feel liked or respected, they're ready to be guided, corrected, and transformed. That's how a true spiritual leader uplift others with love, empathy, and divine wisdom. Nice, no?
जी प्रभु।
Yeah. So this is Radha Shampoo shares, no? How one should correct. So we should know that we are not correcting. We should not correct out of frustration. We should correct only for the benefit. When you can love them, then you can correct them also. So correction should be for their benefit, not to demean, make them feel low, or demean them, or ridicule them, just for the sake of condemning them. That's not the purpose of correction. The purpose of correction is that, no, I honor you, I respect you, I see you as a great person. There's some things which has to be rectified. So it's my very humble and sincere, advice, like that. So that way. So you own, you hold the heart of the person, means you genuinely appreciate and then correct, that they won't feel bad. That way. At least, we can keep this principle in the mind. Got the point, no? So it's very helpful, I believe. I can share maybe. I'll put it in the group maybe later. So let us go further. So he's saying, oh Sarapata, do not yield to this. No? It does not become you. It does not become you. That means you're a great person. It does not become you. So, oh chastity of the enemy, you are chastity of the enemy. So, he's saying, arise, oh chastity of the enemy. It doesn't befit you. Text 4. Arjuna uvacha katham bhishmamaham sankhe donam cha madhusudanam ishubi pratiyostasmi pujaha varisudana. Read the translation.
Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counterattack with arrows in battlemen like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship?
Purport: respectable persons like Bhishma, the grandfather, and Dronacharya. The teacher are always worshipable. So he's saying, how can I contract with arrows in battlemen like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship? How can I contract them if I cannot even give them verbal argument? So even if they are attacked, he said, they should not be contacted. It is general etiquette that superiors are not to be offered even a verbal fight, you see. So that means your parents, father, mother, your father-in-law, mother-in-law, your elder brother, your elder brother's sister-in-law, or your grandfather, your grandmother, or your uncle, your aunt, or your cousin, elder cousins, all of them, you cannot even put a verbal argument. It's a general etiquette. You shouldn't do argument. वो बोलते हैं ना हम लोग घर में sometimes, you fight with your parents, and parents say जवान लड़ाता है. So that is the meaning of that. You are putting a verbal fight, argument. That's not a very good thing. So in general, it's not good. Even if they are sometimes harsh in behavior, they should not be harshly treated. So elders should not be harshly treated, even though they may be harsh sometimes in their behavior. You have to give them the respect of their age. They're elder than us. So he's saying, then how is it possible for Arjuna to counteract them? So for Arjuna, he's such a cultured man. It will be almost impossible to counteract them, correct? Should Krishna ever attack his own grandfather, Ugrasena, or his teacher, Sandipani Muni? And Arjuna, Krishna, would you never do that? Could you ever do? It's impossible. So how can he expect me to do that? So these were some of the arguments offered by Arjuna to Krishna. in a very humble way, he's asking. Guru nahatva hi mahanubhavan. So all of you can unmute. It's a nice verse. Can you please unmute everyone and just repeat after me? Guru nahatva hi mahanubhavan.
Gurunatva hi
Mahanubhava
Preyo bhoktum bhaksham apiha loke.
Bhoktam Daiksham Apiha Loke
Hatvartha kamastu guru nihaiva.
Atmardhakamas Guru Eva
Punjiya bhoganurudhir pradigdhan.
Munji Avogan Dira Pradigdha.
Only 2, 3 of them unmuted. Okay. Translation. Can you read the translation?
It would be better. It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood.
So he's saying, now he's giving he's giving this reason that how we can live. How can we live at the cost of these great souls? No? How can we do that? Better than that, we can just simply beg and live. No? How can we live at the cost of the lives of such great personalities who are my teachers? Yeah, okay, they may be desiring worldly gain, but they're my superiors. They may not be genuine, but they're my superiors. No? If they're killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood. So it's not good, because it's like trying to enjoy at the cost of their life. So very, very deadly. Purport. According to the scriptural course, a teacher who engages in an abominable action and has lost his sense of discrimination is fit to be abandoned. So sometimes, like Shukracharya was a teacher of our Bali Maharaj, but Bali rejected him. Why? Because he lost his discrimination. He was saying not to surrender to Vaman. And Bali Maharaj was a devotee. He understood that, no, how can I not? Everything should be meant for the Supreme Lord. So why he's saying like that? So he rejected his guru. Can you imagine? So one should not blindly follow anyone. So anybody who gets deviated from the path of dharma, who loses his discrimination, and who gets deviated like that, so one shouldn't remain, the subordinate. I mean, one shouldn't be following that person. So one shouldn't be blindly following. So we follow guru when he's following his guru, when he's following the guru parampara nicely. So we shouldn't be like sentimental blind followers. So we should always follow our superiors as they are following their superiors, nicely, that way. Or, I mean, they're sincerely doing it. They're also sincerely. I'm not saying that all of them has to be perfect, but at least they're sincerely trying to follow their superiors, Guru Parampara. Then we can also follow them like that it is. So of course, I'm not saying we should always be suspicious and suspecting and always like that. That's not the point what I'm saying. But one shouldn't be blindly following also. One should know that how his superior is, following the Guru Parampara, and he is, trying to properly execute their duties in Krishna consciousness. So those things we have to also see. We shouldn't be like blindly just going. So sometimes it may happen that sometimes some leader, like once one leader in Pune, so he suddenly got some philosophy. Okay, let us all go to Radhakund. We will be there Radhakund, and we will do our own some bhajan and something like that. So many people following their leader also left the community, and they also went to Vrindavan to go in some Radhakund. But that is not approved by the GBC's governing body committee of ISKCON, or even his leader. This leader was doing it whimsically, without following his superiors. So we should not get deviated like that. We should know that those who are sincerely following the teachings of Srila Prabhupada, and those sincerely following the teachings of those who are following Srila Prabhupada. So we should be following their footsteps. So we have to always see that sincere following of the Srila Prabhupada's teachings should happen. So somebody is concocting his own things should not be accepted. Like when some disciple of Prabhupada started telling Prabhupada is God. He's humble, that's why he's not saying like that. And then they started propagating it. And then many people are getting influenced by that. And the Prabhupada came to know, Prabhupada chastised them and they said, you are banned from this ISKCON. And then Prabhupada, then they asked for forgiveness and Prabhupada said, okay, then open the new centers, then I will allow you to be in ISKCON again. So like that, many, kind of deviations can happen sometimes. So leaders, so we have to be careful that we don't become blind follower. We always should have, that understanding that we follow our spiritual master, we follow, the representative of our spiritual masters as they follow the Guru Parampara, as they're struggling and sincerely trying to follow Guru Parampara. So we shouldn't become a personality cult. We should follow the teachings. And because somebody is repeating the teachings very nicely and setting a good example, then we also are inspired to follow. We hear and follow, and take that example and be inspired and grow in our Krishna consciousness. That's how we should see it. Our gurus and our teachers and all like that. So we should have personal affection, attachment to our spiritual teachers. Nothing wrong with that. But that should not make us blind follower. We should also know that. So there is a slight difference. Of course, you can blindly follow a bona fide guru. But you should have that much intelligence to understand, if suppose, the person whom you're following is deviating or not. That much intelligence you should have. If he's breaking the 4 regulatory principles, and you're saying, no, anyway, he's my guru only, so that's fine only. Not like that. So he's breaking 4 regulatory principles, then we should be careful, like that. Getting, and not also, we should not go to extreme also. It's becoming skeptical for small things only. That is also not proper. So yeah, if he's my guru is telling me to go to that place and preach. No, I think he's not a bona fide guru. He's not sensitive to me. That's our own attachment. That's why we think like that. Or he chastised me, so I think I should not follow him. He's deviated. Just because he chastised you does not mean he's deviated. You are deviated. You are having too much false ego. So sometimes for small thing also, when we become skeptical, that is also wrong. So we have to be balanced. So anyway, saying that Bhishma Drona were obliged to take the side of Duryodhana because of his financial assistance, although they should not have accepted such a position simply on financial consideration. Under the circumstances, they have lost the respectability of teachers. But Arjuna thinks that nevertheless they remain his superiors, and therefore to enjoy material profits after killing them would mean to enjoy spoils tainted with blood. Surrender to me, saying like that. न चैतदित्वा कतरन्न गिरिया यद्वा जयेमा यदिवा नो जयेयुः यानेव हत्वा न जीविषामं शामस्तेव स्थिता प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्रः. So this principle we should know that, like all the Guru Stika we sing also, we always see Guru in line with how he's serving the Lord very nicely, or his Guru Parampara very nicely. That's how we see. So we should always see the connection of the person we are following. So in India, many times there is some guru coming and we don't know whom he is following, which parampara he is following, who is authenticating him. Nobody knows, but everybody is very eager to follow. A big fan following. So that is quite sentimental many times. So many sentimental followers, many new age gurus are there. They are having like that. And they themselves are not surrendered to Krishna. They themselves are not following teachings of Gita. But they are so-called gurus like that. So we have to be careful. We should not be like just gullible and make anybody as our guru. So we should know who is properly coming in parampara and he is sincerely trying to follow the teachings of parampara. Such a person and his good example, they are inspired. And the words, what the way his teachings, what he's repeating, the teachings of Guru Parampara is very inspiring. One can follow, one can grow like that. Translation?
Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield.
Purport: Arjuna did not know whether he should fight and risk unnecessary violence, although fighting is the duty of the Kshatriya, or whether he should refrain and live by begging. If he did not conquer the enemy, begging would be his only means of sustenance, nor was there certainty of victory, because either side might emerge victorious. Even if victory awaited them and their cause was justified, still if the sons of Dhritarashtra died in battle, it would be very difficult to live in their absence. Under the circumstances, that would be another kind of defeat for them. All these considerations by Arjuna definitely prove that not only was he a great devotee of the Lord, but he was also highly enlightened and had complete control over his mind and senses. His desire to live by begging, although he was born in the royal household, is another sign of detachment. See, that's what I was saying to you. So Prabhupada is glorifying his detachment. He was truly virtuous, as these qualities combined with his faith in words of instruction of Sri Krishna, as Spiritual Master indicate. It is concluded that Arjuna was quite fit for liberation. Unless the senses are controlled, there is no chance of elevation to the platform of knowledge. And without knowledge, so this is very important line. If you want, you can underline this very powerful line. Unless the senses are controlled, there is no chance of elevation to the platform of knowledge. So you see, if you are not working on controlling our senses, carefully, cautiously, you'll not be able to hold the knowledge. So much knowledge. That's why many times you can see there are many disciplinary regulations are there in the path of Krishna consciousness, because it's very, very vital for one to hold the knowledge, because sense gratification is like holes. You fill you hear, read, but you indulge in sense gratification, then that holes will drain out the water again. So you will not get much. You're not able to hold the knowledge. You'll hear, but you're not able to hold it. That's why one should be also living a life of a discipline. So sense control is required. Everybody needs to have self-control in the path of Krishna consciousness. Everybody is supposed to be Goswami. If you are Godas, if you are simply serving the senses, not having any control, like sometimes I've seen some devotees, some devotee, like devotee in the sense those who are like being in ISKCON for a long time. Sometimes they will be chanting 2 rounds, 3 rounds, 4 rounds. Still, they are not able to give up tea. Still, they are watching movies. Still, they are going for parties. Still, they are having material life enjoyments. Because that means they're not experiencing, they're not actually really digesting the knowledge, and they're not experiencing something higher in Krishna consciousness. It is going more ritualistically. And they're not working on their lifestyle. They're not working on disciplining themselves. They're not working on applying those teachings and living a life of a devotee, life of a sense controlled devotee who is available for serving Krishna but not for Maya. So if that kind of conscious way of molding our life does not happen, by which our senses and mind are checked and controlled, then you'll not be able to really get the elevation to the platform of knowledge. And he says, and without knowledge and devotion, there is no chance of liberation. And if you don't receive the transcendental knowledge, then right kind of devotional attitude will not awaken in your heart. And then there is no question of liberation then. Then you cannot go back home to God. So that's why it is very important. So that's why sense control is important. So controlling the senses will give you the access to hold the knowledge like that. That's why, sleeping early, getting up early. Why we tend to go so late in the night? The reason is because our mind is not controlled. Senses and mind get, they're too much affected by Rajoguna. The Rajoguna leads to, overdo. Then you tend to overdo. Then you will sleep late, you get up late, you spend too much time in, so many things which are not necessary for us. We get into sometimes phone calls which are not necessary because mind is not controlled. We don't know we cannot prioritize our life properly because of the influence of passion. That's why one has to live a life in goodness. Then sense control, mind control will be much better. And for that, we have to, have some kind of schedule, some kind of plan, and we should stick to it. So that way, gradually, as we come to goodness, the sense control, mind control becomes easy. I was also not, first I was thinking, no, I have some valid reasons to, sometimes we may have to go late and all. Actually, no valid reasons. Actually, you can clearly see, we don't do much productive thing after 9. It is more like somehow, we did not plan well. We could have done many things in the evening. But evening, we will be chatting, we'll be just, spending time, just like that. And then it goes late, and that's a habit. Many of the students also, if you ask them, how they're using their time, you can see evening 5 till 9, they're hardly utilizing their time. And after 9, they remember many things to do. And then they'll sleep by 12, 1, 2. And that's how. So there's uncontrolled mind. So because mind is not controlled and they're not properly prioritizing things. So that's why they have to go late night. So, but the intelligent person, so I think Prabhupada said sometime somewhere like that. The intelligence means to take rest early also. There is a sign of intelligence. So spiritual life very much depends upon our sleeping early and getting up early. It's one of the very vital thing, and that kind of sense control is required. That kind of mind control is required. Mind is saying, no, 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 be awake. Have to do this also. Have to do that also. And mind is not, we are not planning to be properly prioritized your life. In the evening hours, you're not utilizing your time. Then we'll go late night. And then we cannot get up early. And then your morning sadhana is not proper. And then you may be chanting around in the evening, day here and there. Somehow you chant complete. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare, Ram 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 Hare. I have to complete somehow because I have to chant, because I have told to chant. I'll be asked whether I'm chanting or not, so whether I'll do that. So that kind of attitude, that kind of life won't help. I mean, it will help, but the progress will be slow. You're not able to digest the knowledge properly. So if you really want to make swift progress, then live a life of discipline. And you only have to help yourself. Nobody can force you. All of us are grown-ups. None of us are kids. Nobody can do follow-up of ours. Unless we decide, we cannot. That's what I learned. I'm learning in my life. When I decide something, truly, then, of course, I depend on Krishna. Not like on my own, everything is possible. Until Krishna does not bless me, it does not happen. But I should be the first person who is willing to do that. Who's, like, until I decide to chant 1 round, I cannot. Until I decide to chant 16 rounds, I cannot, right? Krishna will not force you. Nobody will force you. So until you decide to sleep early, you decide to get up early, nobody can force you. It's your personal inspiration, your personal choice. So I have seen, some people, even after years, their habits are similar only. Same late night habit, same getting up late habit, same tea habit. Why they're not able to work on it? Because they're not consciously, working on disciplining their life. That's why you see that, because they don't do that and they're not able to hold the knowledge also. Then they won't get much realizations also. So their Krishna consciousness is more like being a well-wisher. Come to temple, do some puja, take some prasadam, devotees are nice, chant some mantra and just go. But that kind of life will not lead to a tangible advancement in Krishna consciousness. Advancement will happen, but it's very slow and gradual. But if you want to go back home to what is this life, then there has to be tivrena bhakti yoga. There has to be some kind of intensity in the practice of devotional service, like that. I'm not saying we have to be too harsh to ourselves, but we have to be consciously make some decisions by which we are actually living life which is more leading us to make progress in Krishna consciousness. So as we come to know, we can take guidance from our superiors, devotees, and we can mold our life more and more in a way which is helpful, in terms of increasing our Krishna consciousness, which is conducive. Like sleeping early, getting up early is a very vital thing actually. So we shouldn't give excuses for it. We should try our best to make some schedule. Gradually, we should be able to come to that understanding. If possible, immediately. If not, at least some plan should be there. Some kind of thoughts and plans. Some kind of we should do some work in that direction. It's very, very vital. So this way, unless the senses are controlled, there is no chance of elevation of the platform of knowledge. And without knowledge, and transcendental knowledge, then the knowledge and devotion, there is no chance of liberation. So you can make one more step. Without transcendental knowledge, then proper devotion won't be awakened. And then there is no question of liberation. So Arjuna was comparing all these attributes over and above his enormous attributes in material relationships. So Prabhupada expects all devotees in ISKCON should get up at 4. I'll show you some text. So if you are not getting up early, that shows spiritual letharginess. Yeah, you can read here. So many places. So there are how many activities from morning 4 a.m. See, in the morning till night 10 p.m. See, Prabhupada says many places. See, our activities are arti, kirtan classes, just we do here now. Everything is done in conformity to a regular attendance time. For example, all the temple members, without exception, must rise by 4 a.m. and attend Mangal Arati. Everyone leaving the temple must agree to the standard by proper understanding of philosophy of Sarasya. So it's important. We cannot expect our guests to follow all our principles, but whoever lives in the temple must follow. That means they must sit down together and hear Bhagavatam class and everything. So we have to come to this standard gradually. Our buildings are not for sleeping and eating and like hotels, but whoever wants to join us should understand the philosophy of regulated devotional service. See here also is saying. Rupa Goswami has introduced system of regulatory principles, which I have taught to you also. These regulatory principles such as rising before 4 a.m. for Mangalarti, chanting 60 notes minimum on the daily beats, reading books, going for the streets and kirtan, preaching to anyone and everyone, offering the prasadam like that. These principles of devotional service are there to safeguard us from Maya's attack by keeping us always enthusiastic. If we strictly observe these principles, we shall remain always enthusiastic. These are the sources and the maintenance of our enthusiasm to serve Krishna. And as soon as someone is not following them regularly, it may be certain that his enthusiasm will gradually disappear. You won't get higher taste. Therefore, my request to you is that under any and all circumstances, that you yourself shall without fail stick to these principles and make certain that all of the devotees in your charge are also following them strictly. So it's very important that we get up early and sleep early. It's very important. Let's go further. Kapanya dosho pahata sabhava pritchami tam dharma sammuna cheta yashreyasya nishitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadi mam tvam prapan. Translation.
Now I am confused about my duties and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness.
Miserly weakness.
Miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me.
Purport. By nature's own way, the complete system of mental activity is a source of perplexity for everyone. In every step, there is perplexity, and therefore it behooves one to approach a bona fide spiritual master who can give one proper guidance for executing the purpose of life. All Vedic literatures advise us to approach a bona fide spiritual master to get free from the perplexities of life, which happen without our desire. They're like a forest fire that somehow blazes without being set by anyone. Similarly, the world situation is such that perplexities of life automatically appear without our wanting such confusion. No one wants fire, and yet it takes place, and we become perplexed. The Vedic wisdom therefore advises that in order to solve the perplexities of life and to understand the science of the solution, one must approach a spiritual master within the disciple succession. A person with a bona fide spiritual master is supposed to know everything. One should not therefore remain in material perplexities, but should approach a spiritual master. This is the purport of this verse. Who is the man in material perplexities? It is he who does not understand the problems of life. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 3.8.10, the perplexed man is described as follows. Jova etadaksharam gargi aviditva lokat praitisa kripanaha. He is a miserly man who does not solve the problems of life as a human and who thus quits this world like the cats and dogs without understanding the science of self-realization. This human form of life is most valuable asset for the living entity who can utilize it for solving the problems of life. Therefore, one who does not utilize this opportunity properly is a miser. On the other hand, there is the Brahmana, or he who is intelligent enough to utilize his body to solve all the problems of life. Ya etadaksharam gargi viditpasma lokat prayatisa brahmanaha. The Kipranas or miserly persons waste their time in being overly affectionate for family, society, country, etc. in the material conception of life. Now, it's very, very powerful purport, no? One of the powerful paragraph. One is often attached to family life, namely to wives, children, and other members on the basis of skin disease. That is bodily conception of life. The skin disease means when you are in bodily conception of life, basically, because you are identifying, your attachments are for the skin, means in the sense that body. When you think, okay, he's my wife, my child, my other cousins, all because we have similar skin, no? एक ही चमड़ी के हैं, मतलब like we are born in a West, so we may have white skin. Somebody born in India, brown skin, something like that. The skin disease. We are identifying with the skin color, skin. So the Kripna thinks that he is able to protect his family members from death, or the Kripna thinks that his family or society can save him from the verge of death. Such family attachment can be found even in the lower animals who take care of children also. Being intelligent, Arjuna could understand that his affection for family members and his wish to protect them from death were the causes of his perplexities. Although he could understand that the duty to fight was awaiting him, still on account of miserly weakness, he could not discharge the duties. He is therefore asking Lord Krishna, the Supreme Spiritual Master, to make a definite solution. He offers himself to Krishna as a disciple. He wants to stop friendly talks Talks between the master and the disciple are serious, and now Arjuna wants to talk very seriously before the recognized spiritual master. Krishna is therefore the original spiritual master of the science of Bhagavad Gita, and Arjuna is the first disciple for understanding the Gita. Now Arjuna understands the Bhagavad Gita is stated. Now, how Arjuna understands the Bhagavad Gita is stated as in the Gita itself. And yet, foolish mundane scholars explain that one need not submit to Krishna as a person, but to the unborn within the Krishna. There is no difference between Krishna's within and without, and one who has no sense of this understanding is the greatest fool in trying to understand Bhagavad Gita. It's a very beautiful purport. So, confusion in our duty comes because of weakness of heart, or because of bodily attachment, basically. So when we live in ignorance, and the way we live in life, I mean, when we live life in ignorance, and when we have no transcendental knowledge, and we are having bodily attachments, then we'll be finding perplexity at every step. That's what he's saying. By nature's way, the complete system of material activity is source of perplexity for everyone. So that's why we need the shelter of a bona fide guru who can enlighten us, who can give us clarity and bring us above the perplexity, remove the perplexity. So all Vedic literatures, they are actually advising to approach a bona fide guru. That's why we need always guidance. We always need guidance because we are in disease state. We are affected by the disease of ignorance. So we need to take shelter of a bona fide guru, just like a diseased person needs a doctor, his prescription. And even a physician even a person who may be a doctor, if he is a patient, he has to take shelter of another doctor. He cannot sometimes treat himself because his brain is not working properly, because he's in the disease state. He's not working. His brain is not working, though he may be a doctor. So even he should also have his physician to get cured. So why not in spiritual life also? So we are all diseased by the disease of avidya, and ignorance. So that's why we need also bona fide guru. Then only we can overcome these perplexities of life. So, and these perplexities come, so many varieties of ways you get perplexed, different junction of your life. Sometimes when we perplexed because of his financial situation, sometimes perplexed in the relationships issues may come, one gets perplexed. Sometimes suddenly the death of near and dear one may happen, one gets perplexed. What next to be done? Or sometimes certain decisions has to be taken in life, which one may find it great difficulty, great challenge to really, take the proper decision in life. So the kind of perplexities are there. So that's why the real solution we can get only when we are properly guided by a bona fide guru and shastras, guru sadhu shastras. So then we can easily overcome. Yeah, and then Prabhupada also says about miserly man and Kripna and Brahmana. So Kripna means he does not solve the problems of life. That means the cycle of birth and death. And he is simply attached to the body. So it's kind of Kripna. Why Kripna miserly? Because he has a valuable human form, which is such a great treasure, but he's not using it. He's simply misusing it, just simply engaging in some gratification. That is a very great loss. So just like a person who has a lot of money, but he can do a lot of things, good things, but his fellow still eats very meagerly and hardly has anything in his house. So it's like miserly person suffers like that. Same way we have human form of life, we can capitalize it by becoming fully aware of our real position and awaken love for Krishna and go back to God. But we are not utilizing that facility of human form of life. So then we have become miser that way. So it's opportunity. So divinity, can utilize this opportunity in human form of life for solving the problems of life, real problems of life, birth, old age, disease, and death, by taking shelter with Krishna, but they are not doing it. Then they become miser. So everybody in this world is miser that way. Those who are not engaging in Krishna consciousness, they are conjuice. So they think they are not conjuice. We are using all that money and talent and abilities for having nice arrangement for material comforts, but they're confused because they don't know that all that talent, energy, and that human form is actually meant for God realization. It is the highest thing we can get, but you're settling with something lower, something lowest. That's something which is you have been. That's what he said. Nishya Vishya Khalu Sarvata. All these pleasures of eating, sleeping, mating, defending is available for the animals also. What great things you are doing when you got the human form of life. You simply live life like an animal only. Lochana bole sahi papi, ellore bolo. this kind of sinful life. No, you have just came and went. You did not do anything with your human form of life. So that is Kripana. So even the most intelligent scholars of this world, those who are not engaged in devotional service, they are miserly. So waste their time in being overly affectionate for family. This is also saying so much they will feel affection for family, society, wife, children, and they want to protect their family. They feel sheltered and protected in the family. Even at the time of death, also, no, they will think that, oh, my family will take care of me. They don't worry about their salvation. So such kind of family attachment is there. Even there are animals also. So Arjuna can understand that his affection for family members and his wish to protect them from death were the causes of his perplexities. Yeah. So he could. So when we are perplexed like this, we cannot properly discharge our real duties of life. So and Krishna is also, Arjuna is also asking Krishna to become his guru, and he accepts him as a disciple. So this is also important that sometimes we are in our certain relationships we may be like friendly and all that. But here Krishna is the friend of Arjuna. But at the same time, when Arjuna is really needing help, then he accepts Krishna as his guru, like that. So that role is a very serious role. So same way a teacher, student, especially spiritual teacher and student, is a very serious role. So that means the student should be very serious about making progress, and the teacher should be very frankly and honestly trying to assist the student to be encouraged and inspired and know how he can actually make progress. So that's a serious business, so no casual and friendly talks. Because a serious thing for that we have come. So just like for when we were preparing for IIT, we wanted to be into IIT, and the teachers were also really wanting us to get into IIT. So they were very serious. They're not unnecessarily talks. So here talks between the master and disciples are serious. Now Arjuna wants to talk very seriously before they recognize spiritual master. So it is said that we shouldn't accept Guru until unless he's really seriously wanting to go back to Godhead, seriously wanting to make progress in his spiritual life. So Guru should not be accepted on the ground of some fashion. Oh, I also have Guru. I also will have respect. I'll also become Das, Raghu Kripa Das, or whatever Das. Oh, I'll also get respect. I'm initiated. I also my Guru. So that is not for some kind of prestige, some kind of fashion. No, it is actually a serious business to make progress in this, the line of devotional service. Yeah. So Krishna is therefore the original spiritual master, the science of Bhagavad Gita, and Arjuna the first disciple. So how do you understand Bhagavad Gita? Like that we have to also understand Gita. So not from unscrupulous commentators. Next slide. Nahi prapashyami vapunudyam amrudyat yakshokshamachokshamindriyanam avapi bhumau asapaptradham radham rajyam suhanam apichadhipatyam. Translation.
I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like all the demigods in heaven.
So Arjuna surrenders to Krishna. Yeah. So here, although Arjuna was putting, so now he's not able to find a solution, right? Yeah. So he's saying that I will not able to get rid of this, perplexity, this kind of grief, even if I get prosperous and rebel kingdom also, or sovereignty in the heaven also. Anything I get, I won't be able to come out of this grief. So, purport, although Arjuna was putting forward so many arguments, based on knowledge of the principles of religion and moral codes, it appears that he was unable to solve this real problem without the help of the spiritual master of Shri Krishna. He could understand that his so-called knowledge was useless in driving away his problems, which were drying up his whole existence. It was impossible for him to solve such perplexities without the help of a spiritual master like Lord Krishna. Academic knowledge, see, this is very nice line. Academic knowledge, scholarship, high position, etc. are all useless in solving the problems of life. Highlight this point. So somebody may be academically very qualified, maybe BTech, MTech, PhD, scholar, high position, but these things cannot help you solve the problems of life. Yeah, so Arjuna was highly talented. He was putting forward so many arguments, but he was not able to solve. real problem of life. So all of us need a spiritual master. Doesn't matter how big you are in this world. We need to humble ourselves in front of a saintly spiritual master who can guide us in our emotional line. So we should not keep the proud of I'm a big fellow. No, I don't need. No, everybody is small in front of Maya. We have actually become big in our false ego. And that means we are more in Maya. So help can be given only by spiritual master like Krishna. Therefore, the conclusion that a spiritual master who is 100% Krishna conscious, the bona fide spiritual master, for he can solve the problems of life. So Lord Krishna, Lord Chaitanya said that one who is master in the science of Krishna consciousness, regardless of his social position, is the real spiritual master. So spiritual master need not be from a Brahmin family, from India only, from some particular race, nothing, no, from education, qualification, nothing. Not like only if the spiritual master from IIT and IT, then only his spiritual master. No material qualification is required. Kiba Vipra, Kiba Nyasi, Shudra Kene Naya, say Krishna Tattvavita, say Guru Haya. It does not matter whether a person is a Vipra, learned a scholar in Vedic wisdom, or is born in a lower family, or is a renouncer of life. If he's mastered the science of Krishna, he's a perfect and bona fide spiritual master. Jata Madhilad 8.12. So only qualification is required is one should be perfect in the science of Krishna consciousness. He should master in the science of Krishna. So without being a master in the science of Krishna consciousness, no one can is one of a spiritual master. It is also said in Vedic literature. Satkarma nipano vipro mantatanta visharada avishnava guru rasnasyat vaishnava swapacho guruhu. A scholarly Brahmin expert in all subjects of Vedic knowledge is unfit to become a spiritual master without being a Vaishnava or expert in the science of Krishna consciousness. But a person born in a family of a lower caste can become a spiritual master if he is a Vaishnava or Krishna conscious. Padma Purana. The problems of material existence, birth, old age, disease, and death cannot be counteracted by accumulation of wealth and economic development in many parts of the world. Many parts of the world. Yeah. In many parts of the world, there are states which are replete with all facilities of life, which are full of wealth, economically developed. Yet the problems of material existence are still present. They are seeking peace in different ways, but they can achieve real happiness only if they consult Krishna or the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, which constitute the science of Krishna, through the bona fide representative of Krishna, the man in Krishna consciousness. Yeah. So they are seeking peace in different ways, but they cannot achieve real happiness only if they consult Krishna or the representative or Gita and Bhagavatam. Then only we can understand. Then we can have the real peace. Then we can find real happiness. If economic development and material comforts could drive away one's lamentations for family, social, national, or international liberties, then Arjuna would have not said that even an unrivaled kingdom on earth or supremacy like that of the demigods in the heavenly planets would be unable to drive away his lamentations. He sought therefore refuge in Krishna consciousness, and that is the right path for peace and harmony. Economic development or supremacy over the world can be finished at any moment by the cataclysms of material nature. Even elevation into a higher planetary system situation, as men are now seeking on the moon planet, can also be finished at one stroke. The Bhagavad Gita confirms this. Chine punya marti lokam vishanti. When the results of past activities are finished, one falls down again from the peak of happiness to the lower stages of life. Many politicians of the world have fallen down in that way. Such downfalls only constitute more causes for lamentation. Yeah, when the results of past activities are finished, one falls down again from the peak of happiness. So no situation in this material world can actually give you peace and happiness. No matter how big money you get, how much big emperor you have become, which planet you have gone into, Brahma Loka also if you go, nothing can make you happy and peaceful. The only way to become happy and peaceful is take shelter of the Lord and engage in his devotional service. So economic development, supremacy over the world, so all things are temporary situations, can be finished in a moment. So in the heavenly planet also one can go, again he has to fall. So many politicians, when the results of higher sectors are finished, one falls down again from the peak of happiness to the lower stages of life. Many politicians of the world have fallen down in that way. Such downfalls only constitute more causes for lamentation. Therefore, if we want to curb lamentation for good, then we have to take shelter of Krishna, as Arjuna is seeking to do. So Arjuna asked Krishna to solve his problem definitely, and that is the way of Krishna consciousness. So that's why only devotee can have the real peace and happiness, because they take shelter of the Lord and his pure devotees. Sanjaya Uvacha Eva Muktarshi Kesham Guna Kesha Parantapaha Nayotseti Govinda Mukta Tushrim Bapuvaha. Translation.
Sanjay said, having spoken this, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silently.
Yeah, so these are now final. He declared, I'm not going to fight. He fell silent. Purport. Dhritarashtra must have been very glad to understand that Arjuna was not going to fight and was instead leaving the battlefield for the begging profession. Hari bol. But Sanjay disappointed him again in relating that Arjuna was competent to kill his enemies. Parantapaha, saying chastised of the enemies, Arjuna. Although Arjuna was for the time being overwhelmed with the false grief due to family affection, he surrendered unto Krishna, the supreme spiritual master, the disciple. This indicated that he would soon be free from the false lamentation resulting from family affection and would be enlightened with perfect knowledge of self-realization or Krishna consciousness, and would then surely fight. The Dhritarashtra's joy would be frustrated, since Arjuna would be enlightened by Krishna and would fight to the end. So this is also an important point, that anybody who has taken shelter of devotional service, Krishna, bona fide Guru, even though he may be right now sometimes confused, bewildered, some kind of faults may be there, but we should not condemn that person, because we should know that person is in the right process, the right shelter. Soon he will be freed from all kinds of contaminations and all kinds of bewilderment, perplexities, grief, lamentation, and he will be fully out of all that, and he'll be very much enlightened and purified and everything, because the process he has taken, right process he has taken, right shelter of Guru he has taken, right shelter of Krishna has taken, and he's sincerely trying. So we should not unnecessarily focus on the faults of devotees who are taking shelter of Krishna and his Guru. We should mind our own business, mind our own faults, try to rectify our own self, because they are in the process. Their spiritual master is there to guide them. So we should not too much, should not try to focus on others' faults, work on ourselves. That's more important. तमुवाचा ऋषिकेशा प्रहसन्निव भारता सेनयोर्मुभयोर् मध्ये विषीदन्तमिदं वचः. Yes, go ahead, translate.
O descendant of Bharat, at the time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna.
Huh? Did not read Arjuna?
Spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna.
So Krishna was smiling, and he spoke to Arjuna. Purport. The talk was going on between intimate friends named Rishikesh and Gurukul. As friends, both of them were on the same level, but one of them voluntarily became a student of the other. Krishna was smiling because the friend has chosen to become a disciple. As Lord of all, he is always in superior position as a master of everyone. Here the Lord agrees to be a friend, a son, a lover for a devotee who wants him to in such a role. You see, even Kapil Muni and Devahuti Mata. Kapil is Lord, Devahuti Mata is mother, but the Devahuti Mata took shelter of Kapil Muni as Guru. So it doesn't matter, externally what is one situation. If Krishna or a great saintly devotee is there, one can accept him as Guru. Like that. There is a Loknath Swami Maharaj in India, the spiritual master. So his elder sister is his disciple. So sometimes, she may be elder sister, but she can also be a disciple. So here, Krishna is a great Lord. So Arjuna, though Krishna is a chariot driver right now, he's like a friend in the rasa, but Krishna is accepted as Guru now. But when he was accepted as the master, he at once assumed the role and talked with the disciple like the master, with gravity as it is required. It appears that the talk between the master and the disciple was openly exchanged in the presence of both armies, so that all were benefited. So the talks of Bhagavad Gita are not for any particular person, society or community, but they are for all. and friends or enemies are equally entitled to hear them. Text 11. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. Yes, Sanjay was spoken. अशोचन्याशोचन्यामनुशोचस्त्वं प्रज्ञावादां च भाष्यते गतासु न गतासुं च नानुशोचन्ति पंडिताः. Yes, translation.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for their living nor for the dead.
So you are speaking like a learned man. You are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. So yes, Arjuna was speaking like a very great personality, but actually he is mourning for something which is not worthy. That is because he is mourning for bodily loss. His relatives and kinsmen will be lost. They will die. But Krishna will establish now the knowledge of soul. Oh, you're lamenting for the material body. So those are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Purport. The Lord at once took the position of a teacher and chastised the student, calling him indirectly a fool. The Lord said, you're talking like a learned man, but you do not know that one who is learned, who knows what is body and what is soul, does not lament for any state of the body. Neither the living nor the dead condition. As explained in later chapters, it will be clear that knowledge means to know matter and spirit under control of both. This is a very important line. Also, you can put. Knowledge means to know matter and spirit under control of both. Arjuna argued that religious principles should be given more importance than politics or sociology. But he did not know that knowledge of matter, soul, and supreme is even more important than religious formularities. So see, that's why we are spiritual. We are not just a religious organization. We are a spiritual organization. We are not just talking about religious formularities. We're talking about spirituality. That is soul, God, and how we can get freed from the entanglement of the matter. And because he was lacking in that knowledge, he should not have proposed himself as a very learned man. As he did not happen to be a very learned man, he was consequently lamenting for something which was unworthy of lamentation. The body is born and it is time to vanquish today or tomorrow. Therefore, the body is not as important as the soul. One who knows this is actually learned. And for him, there is no cause for lamentation, regardless of condition of the material body. Text 12. Natvevaham jatunasam natvam neme janadhipa na chaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamatah param. Translation.
Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all the kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be.
In the Vedas, in the Kathopanishad purport, in the Vedas and Kathopanishad, as well as in the Shvetasutra Upanishad, it is said that Supreme Personality of Godhead is the maintainer of innumerable living entities in terms of their different situations according to individual work and reactions of work. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is also, by its plenary portions, alive in the heart of every living entity. Only saintly persons who can see within and without the same Supreme Lord can actually attain to perfect and eternal peace. Nityonitanam chetana chetanam ekobhavanam jivadati kaman tam atma sthatam ne anupashyanti dhiras tesham shanti shashwati netaresham. The same Vedic truth given to Arjuna is given to all persons in the world who pose themselves as very learned, but actually have but a poor fund of knowledge. The Lord says clearly that he himself, Arjuna, and all other kings who are assembled on the battlefield are eternally individual beings. And the Lord is eternally the maintainer of the individual living entities, both in their condition and in their liberated situations. The Supreme Personality Godhead is the supreme individual person, and Arjuna, the Lord's eternal associates, and all the kings assembled there are individual eternal persons. It is not that they did not exist as individuals in the past, and it is not that they will not remain eternal persons. Their individuality existed in the past, and their individuality will continue in the future without interruption. Therefore, there is no cause for lamentation for anyone. The Mayavadi theory that after liberation, the individual soul separated by the covering of Maya or illusion will merge into the impersonal Brahman and lose its individual existence is not supported herein by Lord Krishna, the Supreme Authority, nor is the theory that we only think of individuality in the conditioned state supported herein. Krishna clearly says herein that in the future also the individuality of the Lord and others, as it is confirmed in the Upanishads, will continue eternally. The statement of Krishna is authoritative because Krishna cannot be subject to illusion. If individuality were not a fact, then Krishna would not have stressed it so much even for the future. The Mayavadi may argue that the individuality spoken of by Krishna is not spiritual but material. Even accepting the argument that the individuality is material, then how can one distinguish Krishna's individuality? Krishna affirms his individuality in the past and confirms his individuality in the future also. He has confirmed his individuality in many ways, and impersonal Brahman has been declared to be subordinate to him. Krishna has maintained spiritual individuality all along. If he is accepted as an ordinary conditioned soul in individual consciousness, then his Bhagavad Gita has no value as authoritative scripture. A common man with all the four defects of human frailty is unable to teach that which is worth hearing. The Gita is above such literature. No mundane book compares with the Bhagavad Gita. When one accepts Krishna as an ordinary man, the Gita loses all importance. You can underline this. When one accepts Krishna as an ordinary man, the Gita loses all importance. The Mayavadi argues that the plurality mentioned in this verse is conventional and that it refers to the body. But previous to this verse, such a body conception is already condemned. After condemning the bodily conception of the living entities, how was it possible for Krishna to place a conventional proposition on the body again? Therefore, individuality is maintained on spiritual grounds and is thus confirmed by great acharyas like Sri Ramanujacharya and others. It is clearly mentioned in many places in Gita that this spiritual individuality is understood by those who are devotees of the Lord. Those who are envious of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead have no bona fide access to the great literature. The non-devotee's approach to the teachings of the Gita is something like that of a bee licking on a bottle of honey. You can realize this also. The non-devotee's approach to the teaching of the Gita is something like that of a bee licking on a bottle of honey. One cannot have a taste of honey unless one opens the bottle. Similarly, the mysticism of Bhagavad Gita can be understood only by devotees, and no one else can taste it, as it is stated in the 4th chapter of the book. Nor can the Gita be touched by persons who envy the very existence of the Lord. Therefore, the Mayavadi explanation of the Gita is most misleading presentation of the whole truth. Lord Chaitanya has forbidden us to read commentaries made by the Mayavadis and warns that one who takes to such an understanding of the Mayavadi philosophy loses all power to understand the real mystery of the Gita. If individuality refers to the empirical universe, then there is no need of teaching by the Lord. Are you getting some disturbance, Prabhu, from background noise?
No, Prabhuji, it's fine.
Fine, okay. If individuality refers to the empirical universe, then there is no need of teaching by the Lord. The plurality of the individual soul and the Lord is an eternal fact, and it is confirmed by the Vedas as above mentioned. So, some few points with big purport. One thing is that the Lord is saying here how we are all eternal. That I always existed, you also existed, and we in future also will exist. This is one thing. So you always remain individual. Many people think that okay, after liberation we'll merge. No, but you always remain individual. Never merge like that. So he says that with some disturbances there here. I'm getting distracted. So
There's some voice background,
sorry?
but there's some voice coming from the background, but your voice is louder, so
okay. Yeah,
still
but
fine.
for me it is quite loud.
It's-
Okay. So the Supreme Personality God is also alive in the heart of him. Okay. Yeah. So see, one thing is that here in the beginning he's saying that the Lord is actually the maintainer of all living entities, and in terms of the different situations according to individual work and reaction of the work, Lord actually accordingly, sanctions things and maintains them accordingly also. So the Supreme Godhead is by his person alive in the, and he's also the super soul is present there. And the saintly person who can see within and without, the same Supreme Lord can actually attain to perfect peace and eternal happiness like that. It's eternal peace and perfect eternal peace like that. So yeah, that is the verdict of scriptures. Vidyavanaya Sampanne, that also is there. One who can see different divinities, soul, same soul is there. Of course, here super soul also. One can understand that the same Supreme Soul God also is there as a super soul in everyone's heart. So person can be peacefully situated. And this verse is talking about Nitya Nityanam, also that the plural subordinate and singular supreme. Nitya Nityanam is there are plural eternal beings, that is jivas, and singular supreme Lord, like Nitya and Nityanam. Supremely eternal, plural, and then Nitya, the supreme Lord is eternal, and there's plural eternal beings. Chaitana Chetananam. So there are singular conscious being, and there are plural conscious beings like that. So it's also there. And Eko Vidati Kama, and he is just that one Lord is maintaining all the living entities like that. Individually in both conditions, and the conditions and liberty both there he is maintaining. In both state he is maintaining the conditional state also, liberated state also. So he's saying if it does not, they not exist in individual in the past, and it is not that they will not remain eternal persons. They always remain individual. So some few important thing about Mayavadi thing, what he's saying, that the merging into impersonal Brahman, they lose their individual existence. This doesn't happen. It's not supported here. So this verse is actually defying the Mayavad, because it's saying we are eternally there all the time. So, and then he's saying one more thing, that even accepting the individuality in the past and confirms his individuality in the future also. He has confirmed his individuality in many ways, and impersonal Brahman has been declared to be subordinate to him. Brahmano Hipadishtam, that also explains. Krishna has maintained spiritual individuality all along. So if he is accepted as an ordinary conditioned soul in individual consciousness, then his Bhagavad Gita has no value. Because if Krishna is also an ordinary person like us, individual being like us, then what is the difference between, if there is no difference between us and him, then what is the value of his Bhagavad Gita? So Krishna is an individual being, but he is not individual being like us. Meaning, he is not a conditioned soul like us. So if he is accepted as an ordinary conditioned soul, individual consciousness, then his Bhagavad Gita has no value. Yeah, so he has confirmed his individuality in many ways, and Krishna has maintained his spiritual individuality all along, but he's not as an ordinary, he's not an ordinary conditioned soul. Common man has 4 defects. So that's why what he will give knowledge will not be perfect, but God does not have any 4 defects, and he's supremely conscious being. So, and another argument, the Mayavadi argues that the plurality mentioned in this verse is conventional, and that it refers to the body. Okay, he's saying that we always exist, means as we different exist in different body as bodies. Like if I say when I did not exist, nor you, all these kings. Also, okay, this is plurality. What he's saying is convention, and that refers to the body. But previous to this verse, such a bodily conception is already condemned. So Lord already has told that we are not the body, we are soul. Previous verse. Correct. In this verse, he has told. Not worthy of grief. No, one should not lament for the living body. So. So after condemning the body conception of reality, how was it possible for Krishna to place a conventional proposition on the body again? So individuality is maintained on the spiritual grounds. So spiritually, we are individual always. Meaning that somebody may say that, okay, there is the same soul only. The same soul only, somebody may say, but only thing is that individual because they have different bodies. That's why they're individual. But me, you, everybody is same only. We're all one, same soul. You're same consciousness. But it's wrong actually. That's Mayavad. We are not same. No. So he's saying that, oh, that what Shloka is saying, no, plurality, we're individual, before, now, and later. That is because we have different bodies, no? So we are different individuals. But when we get perfect, then we become one. So, but it is not mentioned like this because he is talking plurality in terms of soul on the spiritual ground, not on the platform of body. On the platform soul, we are individuals. So that means even though we may have different bodies, but we have different souls also. It's not that, we have same soul and bodies are only different. That's why we're individuals. No. We have different souls also. We are all individual souls. That's the point. That's why we have to understand the Gita from a devotee. That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying that individuality is maintained on the spiritual ground is confirmed by great acharyas like Ramanacharya and all others also. So I hope this is clear now. Any doubt in this? It may look like a difficult paragraph, but I explained it. I hope you got it. Is it clear?
Ji Prabhuji, kind of.
Huh?
Ji Prabhuji, it's like, yeah, we'll have to go through it again, but yes, for the first go, it's very, very good explanation.
Very good.
Explained by you.
You got the main points. The difficult things I explained. That might may look little confusing. I explained it. Okay. Dehi nosmin tha dehe kaumaram yavanam jara tatha dehantara prapti dhira satana muhyati. Translation: as the embodied soul continuously passes in the body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Purport: since every living entity is an individual soul, each is changing his body every moment, manifesting sometimes as a child, sometimes as a youth, and sometimes as an old man. Yet the same spirit soul is there and does not undergo any change. This individual soul finally changes the body at death and transmigrates to another body, and since it is sure to have another body in the next birth, either material or spiritual, there was no cause of lamentation for by Arjuna on account of death, neither for Bhishma nor for Drona, for whom he was so much concerned. Rather, he should rejoice for their changing bodies from old to new ones, thereby rejuvenating their energy. Such changes of body accounts for varieties of enjoyment or suffering, according to one's work in life. So Bhishma and Drona, being noble souls, were surely going to have spiritual bodies in the next life, or at least life in heavenly bodies for superior enjoyment in material existence. So in either case, there was no cause for lamentation. Any man who has perfect knowledge of the constitution of the individual soul, the super soul, and the nature, both material and spiritual, is called a dhira, or a most sober man. Such a man is never deluded by the change of bodies. The Mayavadi theory of oneness of the spirit soul cannot be entertained on the ground that the spirit soul cannot be cut into pieces as fragmental portion. Such cutting into different individual souls would make the supreme cleavable or changeable against the principle of the supreme souls being unchangeable. So we are never like separated, not like we are cleaved from the Supreme Lord. Never like that. We are eternally separated part and parcel of the Lord. So one of the spirit soul cannot be entertained on the ground. The spirit soul cannot be cut into pieces as fragmental portion. So we are already separated part and parcel of that always. So oneness of the spirit soul cannot be entertained on the ground that spirit soul cannot be cut into pieces. So cutting into different souls make the supreme cleavable. That supreme can be cleaved again and again. It's unchangeable. So again, the principle of supreme soul being unchangeable. As confirmed in the Gita, a fragmental portion of the supreme exists eternally, Sanatan, and are called Kshara. That is, they have a tendency to fall down into material nature. These fragmental portions are eternally so, and even after liberation, the individual soul remains the same, fragmental. But once liberated, he lives an eternal life. But once liberated, he lives an eternal life in bliss and knowledge with the personality of Godhead. These fragmental portions are eternally so, and even after liberation, the individual soul remains the same, fragmental. But once liberated, he lives an eternal life in bliss and knowledge with the personality of Godhead. The theory of reflection can be applied to the super soul, who is present in each and every individual body and is known as Paramatma. He is different from the individual living entity. When the sky is reflected in water, the reflections present both the sun and the moon and the stars also. The stars can be compared to the living entities and the sun or moon to the Supreme Lord. The individual fragmental spirit soul is represented by Arjuna, and the Supreme Soul is the personality of Goddess Shri Krishna. They are not on the same level, as it will be apparent in the beginning of the 4th chapter. If Arjuna is on the same level with Krishna, and Krishna is not superior to Arjuna, then their relationship of instructor and instructed becomes meaningless. If both of them are deluded by the illusory energy, Maya, then there is no need of one being the instructor and the other the instructed. Such instruction would be useless, because in the clutches of Maya, no one can be an authoritative instructor. Under the circumstances, it is admitted that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Lord, superior in position to the living entity. Arjuna, who is a forgetful soul, deluded by Maya. You can see that. I have to speak loudly to counteract their noise. Not noise, he is also speaking something. So I'm sorry. So, if Arjuna is on the same level, so see, Krishna and Arjuna are not on the same level. The same level, then there is no point of Arjuna being instructed by Krishna. So Krishna is in superior position. Arjuna is a forgetful soul, deluded by Maya. Okay, so after getting the knowledge of soul, Krishna is telling something very wonderful. So I'll little bit discuss on this also. So let's next verse. Matra spashastu kaunteya sitosha sukha dukkada agama paino nityastam chittidiksa bharata. Translation.
O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course, are like the appearance and the disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, ocean of Bharata,
Siyan of Bharat.
ocean of Bharat, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed.
Purport. In the proper discharge of duty, one has to learn to tolerate non-permanent appearance and disappearance of happiness and distress. According to Vedic injunction, one has to take his bath early in the morning, even during the month of Magh, January, February. It is very cold at that time, but in spite of that, a man who abides by the religious principles does not hesitate to take his bath. Similarly, a woman does not hesitate to cook in the kitchen in the months of May and June, the hottest part of the summer season. One has to execute his duty in spite of climatic inconveniences. Similarly, to fight is the religious principle of the Kshatriyas. And although one has to fight with some friend or relative, one should not deviate from prescribed duty. One has to follow the prescribed rules and regulations of religious principles in order to rise up to the platform of knowledge. Because by knowledge and devotion only can one liberate himself from the clutches of Maya. So one has to follow prescribed rules and regulations in order to rise the platform of knowledge. That is another interesting point. When you follow the prescribed rules and religious principles, then you can actually get to the platform. That's why it is recommended that one does his prescribed duties well, even in Varnashrama also, because that leads to purification and getting the knowledge. Gradually he may get to the knowledge. That's also important. Of course, in Krishna consciousness duties, when Krishna consciousness is the highest thing, this is talking in terms of like yoga ladder. Like gradually, if somebody is at least somebody is doing karma yoga where he is performing his prescribed duties. So gradually, he will, by dint of his sincerely doing his prescribed duties nicely under Varnashrama, gradually his heart will be purified and it comes to platform of knowledge. It's a gradual process, of course. But by doing service in Krishna consciousness, naturally one will develop Jnana Vairagya. That is, by rendering devotional service, one will naturally become fully equipped with transcendental knowledge and also will develop detachment. So that is why what Krishna actually recommends is to do duties in Krishna consciousness. But there is also one principle that by following the prescribed rules and regulations, in order to rise up to the platform of knowledge. Because by knowledge and devotion only can one liberate himself from the clutches of Maya illusion. The two different names of address given to Arjuna are also significant. To address him as Kaunteya signifies his great blood relations from his mother's side, and to address him as Bharata signifies his greatness from his father's side. From both sides, he is supposed to have a great heritage. A great heritage brings responsibility in the matter of proper discharge of duties. Therefore, he cannot avoid fighting. Text 15. Yam hina viti ante te purusham purusharshabha samadukha sukam dhiram some tattvaya kalpate. Translation.
O best among men, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is at study in both is certainly eligible for liberation.
So one who is not disturbed in happiness and distress and is studying both is eligible for liberation. Purport. Anyone who is studying his determination for the advanced stage of spiritual realization and can equally tolerate the onslaughts of distress and happiness is certainly a person eligible for liberation. In the Varnashrama institution, the fourth stage of life, namely the renounced order, sannyas, is painstaking situation. But one who is serious about making his life perfect surely adopts the sannyas order of life in spite of all difficulties. The difficulties usually arise from having to sever family relationships. They give up the connection of wife and children. But if anyone is able to tolerate such difficulties, surely his path to spiritual realization is complete. Similarly, in Arjuna's discharge of duties as a Kshatriya, he is advised to persevere, even if it is difficult to fight with his family members or similarly beloved persons. Lord Chaitanya took sannyas at the age of 24 and his dependents, young wife, as well as old mother had no one else to look after them. Yet for a higher cause he took sannyas and was steady in the discharge of higher duties. And that is a way of achieving liberation from material bondage. So three verses are coming in line. First was talking about we are not the body, we are soul. Second verse is saying about, oh, you are not this body or soul, but you are still in the body, and you will experience some happiness and distress, but tolerate them, because you're still not freed from the bodily conception of life. You know the knowledge, but it takes time to realize yourself as full realization that you're not the body or soul. So till that time, you will have to face difficulties. Because you will have some attachments on body platform. So there'll be some troubles coming up. So now tolerate those troubles and remain engaged in Krishna consciousness. That's what he's saying. So one should tolerate them, and tolerate them for what? So amritatvaya kalpate, for the sake of liberation, for the sake of attaining love for Krishna. So a person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress, and that means he tolerates it and is steady, and he focuses on his Krishna consciousness, such a person can be liberated gradually. So that's why I was talking about how every virtue should have a purpose. So here, the virtue of tolerance is with a purpose to able to focus. They say, no, Trinadapi Suniche na Taroriva Tarorapi Sahishuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. Why we say that? One should be more humble than a blade of grass, one should be more tolerant than a tree, and devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respect to others. And we should not expect any respect from others, and ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. So basically, when you have this attitude of humility and tolerance, then you can focus on your devotion service nicely. And that's how you can get elevated to the platform of awakening your love for Krishna. So yes, we are not the body, we are soul, but we are still in body conception of life. We are not yet realized. So then what to do? We feel insulted, we feel troubled, we feel stressed, we feel we are hurt. All that will happen. So that way we may tend to be disturbed, and then we're not able to focus. So you're saying, okay, tolerate it. If you can tolerate it for the purpose of, for the higher purpose, don't take these small things too seriously. And remember, the goal of life is not to just solve to get free from all these situations of troubles, insult, and some difficulties here and there. The goal of life is to actually awaken our love for Krishna, go back to spiritual world. So then one can tolerate this and this is also temporary. It comes and goes. All these troubles of life comes and go. The time, this is a different phase of life. Some different troubles are there. You can see also in your life, a different phase of life, you had different troubles. At this stage of life, you have some troubles. So these troubles will come and go. But you cannot compromise in being focused in your devotional service. That should remain constant always. That's why one should be steady in his determination for the advanced stage of spiritualization, can equally tolerate the onslaughts of distress and happiness. Then one can be eligible to liberation. So there so many painstaking situations with the discharge of duties. One should be eager to take up those pains and sacrifices for the sake of elevating Krishna consciousness. One should not worry about difficulties so much, because one should tolerate them like that. To do his Krishna conscious duties, one should tolerate. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate staha, ubhayaropi dishtotan, yostattattvadarshibhihi. I will take, sir, 20 minutes more because we started late. So I think we can take. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhu. You can continue.
Hope others are also okay. So we'll just finish it in 15-20 minutes. Can you read somebody can read the translation?
Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both.
Purport: there is no disturbance of the changing body. No endurance, no change. There is no endurance of the changing body, that the body is changing every moment by the actions and reactions of different cells generated by modern medical science. And thus growth and old age are taking place in the body. But the spirit soul exists permanently, remaining the same despite all changes of the body and the mind. That is the difference between matter and spirit. By nature, the body is ever changing. The soul is eternal. This conclusion is established by all classes of seers of truth, both impersonalists and personalists. In the Vishnu Purana, it is stated that Vishnu and his abodes are all self-illuminated spiritual existence. Jyotismi Vishnu Bhavanani Vishnu, the words existent and non-existence refers only to spirit and matter. That is the version of all seers of truth. This is the beginning of the instruction by the Lord to the living entities who are bewildered by the influence of ignorance. So Vishnu and his abodes are self-illuminated by spiritual existence. Very nice point. The words existence and non-existence refers only to spirit and matter. This is the beginning of the instruction by the Lord to the living entities who are bewildered by the influence of ignorance. Removal of ignorance involves the re-establishment of the eternal relationship between the worshipper and the worshipable. This is a nice point. Removal of ignorance involves the re-establishment of the eternal relationship between the worshipper and the worshipable, and the consequent understanding of the difference between the part and parcel living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can understand the nature of the Supreme by thorough study of oneself. The difference between oneself and the Supreme Being understood as the relationship between the part and the whole. In the Vedanta Sutras as well as in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Supreme has been accepted as the origin of all emanations. Such emanations are experienced by superior and inferior natural sequences. The living entities belong to the superior nature as it will be revealed in the 7th chapter. Although there is no difference between the energy and the energetic is accepted as the supreme and the energy or nature is accepted as the subordinate. The living entities, therefore, are always subordinate to the Supreme Lord, as in the case of the master and the servant, or the teacher and the student. Such clear knowledge is impossible to understand under the spell of ignorance. And to drive away such ignorance, the Lord teaches Bhagavad Gita for the enlightenment of all entities for all time. Text 17. Avinashut tadvidhi yena sarvamidam tata vinashamasya na kaschit kartum arhati. Translation.
That which pervades the entire body you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul.
Purport. This verse more clearly explains the real nature of the soul, which is spread all over the body. Anyone can understand what is spread all over the body. It is consciousness. Everyone is conscious of the pains and pleasures of the body in the part or as a whole. The spreading of consciousness is limited within one's own body. The pains and pleasures of one body are unknown to another. Therefore, each and every body is the embodiment of in an individual soul. So our consciousness is spread till our body only. We cannot perceive the pains and pleasures of other people, other bodies. So each and every body is the embodiment of the individual soul, and the symptom of the soul's presence is perceived as individual consciousness. The soul is described as 1/10,000th part of the upper portion of the hair point inside. This is nice information. You can underline this. So you take tip of the hair, cut into 100, take another that one part and cut into 100. That is the size of the soul. So small, 1/10,000. The Sheta Sutra confirms this. Bhalagra sata bhagasya shatada kalpatisya cha bhago jiva savidyaya sa chantantata kalpate. Yeah, so indestructible. So we are eternal. We cannot be destroyed. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. And then he says when the upper hair of his hair is divided into 100 parts, and again each of such parts divided into 100 parts. So each such part is the measurement of the dimension of the spirit soul. Similarly, the same version is stated. Keshagra satabhagasya shatana sadishamakaha jiva sukshma swarupoyam sankhyathito hichitkanaha. There are innumerable particles of spiritual atoms which are measured as 1/10,000 of the upper portion of the hair. Two different places quoted. Therefore, the individual particles, spiritual soul is a spiritual atom smaller than the material atoms, and such atoms are innumerable. This very small spiritual spark is the basic principle of the material body, and the influence of such a spiritual spark is spread all over the body as the influence of the active principle of some medicine spread throughout the body. This current of the spirit soul is felt all over the body as consciousness, and that is the proof of the presence of the soul. Any layman can understand that the material body minus consciousness is a dead body. This is also a nice point. The material body minus consciousness is a dead body. And this consciousness cannot be revived in the body by means of material administration. Therefore, consciousness is not due to any amount of material combination, but to the spirit soul. Therefore, consciousness is Therefore, consciousness is not due to any amount of material combination, but to the spirit soul. In the Manduka Upanishad, the measurement of the atomic spirit soul is further explained. Eshonuratma chetasa veditavyo yasmin prana panchada samvinesha prana chittam sarvamotam prajana yasmin vishuddhe vibhavati eshat atma. Somebody can read the translation?
The soul is atomic.
Can go ahead.
Okay. The soul is atomic in size and can be perceived by perfect intelligence. This atomic soul is floating in the 5 kinds of air: prana, apana, vyana, samana, and udana. Is situated within the heart and spreads its influence all over the body of the embodied living entities. When the soul is purified from the contamination of the 5 kinds of material air, its spiritual influence is exhibited.
The Hatha Yoga system is meant for controlling the 5 kinds of air encircling the pure soul by different kinds of sitting postures. Not for any material profit, but for liberation of the minute soul from the entanglement of the material atmosphere. So the consideration of the atomic soul is admitted in all Vedic treatises, and it is also actually felt in the practical experience of any sane man. Only the insane man can think of his atomic soul as all-pervading Vishnu Tattva. The influence of the atomic soul can be spread all over a particular body. According to Mundaka Upanishad, this atomic soul is situated in the heart of every living entity. And because the measurement of the atomic soul is beyond the power of appreciation of the material scientists, some of them assert foolishly that there is no soul. The individual atomic soul is definitely there in the heart along with the super soul, and thus all energies of bodily movement are emanating from this part of the body. The corpuscles which carry the oxygen from the lungs gather energy from the soul. When the soul passes away from this position, the activity of the blood generating fusion ceases. Yeah. Medical science accepts the importance of the red corpuscles, but it cannot ascertain that the source of the energy is the soul. Medical science, however, does not admit that the heart is the best seat of all energies of the body. Such atomic particles of the spirit spirit whole are compared to the sunshine molecules. In the sunshine, there are innumerable radiant molecules. Similarly, the fragmental parts of the Supreme Lord are atomic sparks of the rays of the Supreme Lord, called by the name Prabha or superior energy. So whether one follows the Vedic knowledge or modern science, one cannot deny the existence of the spirit soul in the body. And the science of the soul explicitly described in the Bhagavad Gita by the personality of God. So fragmental parts of the Supreme Lord, atomic sparks of the rays of the Supreme Lord. Atomic particles of the jivas. Next verse. अंतवंत इमे देहा नित्ययुक्त शरीरिणः अनाशिनो प्रेम अप्रेमस्य तस्माद्युद्धस्य भारत. Translation.
The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharat.
You can read the purport, Praveen.
The material body is perishable by nature. It may perish immediately, or it may do so after 100 years. It is a question of time only. There is no chance of maintaining it indefinitely. But the spirit soul is so minute that it cannot even be seen by an enemy, to say nothing of being killed. As mentioned in the previous verse, it is so small that no one can have any idea how to measure its dimension. So, from both viewpoints, there is no cause of lamentation, because the living entity has he cannot be killed, nor can the material body be saved from any length of time or permanently protected. The minute particle of the whole spirit acquires this material body according to his birth, and therefore observance of religious principles should be utilized. In the Vedanta Sutras, the living entity is qualified as light because he is part and parcel of the supreme light. As sunlight maintains the entire universe, so the light of the soul maintains this material body. As soon as the spirit soul is out of this material body, the body begins to decompose. Therefore, it is the spirit soul which maintains this body. The body itself is unimportant. Arjuna was advised to fight and not sacrifice the cause of religion for material bodily considerations.
Hmm. Yeah. Arjuna was advised to fight and not sacrifice the cause of religion for material bodily considerations. Minute particle of the whole spirit acquires the material body according to his work, and therefore observance of religious people should be utilized. And divinity is qualified as light because it's part of the supreme light. या एनं वेत्ति हन्तारं यश्चैन मन्यते हतम् उभौ तौ न विजानीतो नायं हन्ति न हिन्यते. Translation.
Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain is in knowledge, for the self slays not nor is slain.
Purport.
When an embodied living entity is hurt by fatal weapons, it is to be known that the living entity within the body is not killed. The spirit soul is so
That's like
small that it
Socrates
is.
was very fearless. When they were trying to give poison to him, you cannot kill me, because he was very sure that as soul I cannot be killed.
Hmm.
What
The
happened? One
spirit soul.
person was in a big person, he's a devotee. So once Gunda came and he stole his, and he just put gun on him and then he gave everything he gave. And then, but the point is, this person was completely fearless. Actually, what happened? He told that, no, I will kill you also because you may complain police and all. He said, you cannot kill me. So you cannot kill me. Arey, I'm going to kill you. And he was completely fearless. He had no strain of like stress or something. So that he got completely shocked how this person can be so fearless. Then he said, how can you not? I'm really going to kill you. I said, no, you cannot kill me. Sorry, but he became interested. If he dies now, then how will he, how can I ask him how he's so fearless? But this, devotee was completely fearless. And this person became so curious, and he asked, how can you be so fearless? I'd never seen in my life. I've killed so many people, but they had so much of fear. But you are the first person I'm finding so fearless, and you're saying you cannot kill me. What is the secret? Then he started telling about the philosophy of science and body, and he became a devotee. That person became a devotee. So, yeah, or at least he became favorable. I'm not sure, but something like that I heard. So the point is that, uh, if you know that I'm not the body, I'm soul, then one can become fearless. Truly, if somebody can understand and has some conviction about it. Yes.
The spirit soul is so small that it is possible to kill him by any material weapon, as will be evident from subsequent verses. Nor is the living entity killable, nor because of his spiritual constitution. What is killed or is supposed to be killed is the body only. This, however, does not at all encourage killing of the body. The Vedic injunction is Mahim Sat Sarva Bhutani, never commit violence to anyone, nor does understanding that the living entity is not killed encourage animal slaughter. Killing the body of anyone without authority is abominable, abominable and is punishable by the law of the states as well as by the law of the Lord. Arjun, however, is being engaged in killing for the principle of religion and not whimsically.
Yeah. So, yeah, so body cannot be killed by any material weapon. That is spiritual also. So it's not killable anyway. So body only can be killed. So, but it does not mean that one should encourage the killing the body, because one should be instructed by Guru and Krishna. Then only, like nobody can just cut the hand and anything. No, only doctors can do that, because they have something in the mind to cure that person. Otherwise, one cannot commit the violence whimsically. The divinity is not killed. So understanding that divinity is not killed. So okay, let us do animal slaughter. That is not bona fide. So we don't have any authority to take life of anyone. To separate the body from his soul, we don't have the right. Okay, I'm not this room, I'm this person, I'm not this room, I can say that. But somebody takes me out of this room unauthorized way. So I can actually put case on him, right? The same way, you don't have a right to kill someone's body. Krishna wants you, there is sanction like that. Krishna wanted Arjuna to fight, then he could. So it's only on the ground of Krishna's instruction, Guru instructions. न जायते मृते वा कदाचित् नायं भूतभविता वा न भूयात् नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हनुमाने शरीरे.
For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain. He is not slain when the body is slain.
Okay.
Purport. Qualitatively, the small atomic fragmental part of the Supreme Spirit is one with the Supreme. He undergoes no changes like the body. Sometimes the soul is called the steady or kutasutaha. The body is subject to 6 kinds of transformations. It takes its birth from the womb of the mother's body, remains for some time, grows, produces some effects, gradually dwindles, and at last vanishes into oblivion. The soul, however, does not go through the such changes. The soul is not born, but because he takes on a material body, the body takes its birth. The soul does not take birth there, and the soul does not die. Anything which has birth also has death. And because the soul has no birth, he therefore has no past, present, or future. He is eternal, ever existing, and primeval. That is, there is no trace in history of his coming into being. Under the impression of the body, we seek the history of birth, etc., of the soul. The soul does not at any time become old as the body does. The so-called old man therefore feels himself to be in the same spirit as in his childhood or youth. The changes of the body do not affect the soul. The soul does not deteriorate like a tree, nor anything material. The soul has no byproduct either. The byproduct of the body, namely children, are also different individual souls, and owing to the body, they appear as children of a particular man. The body develops because of the soul's presence, but the soul has neither offshoots nor change. Therefore, the soul is free from the 6 changes of the body. In the Katha Upanishad,
Yeah.
we also find a similar passage which reads, न जयते मृते व विपासचिन न्याम कुतश्चिन न भाभुव कश्चित् अजो नित्य शाश्वतो यम पुराण न हन्यते हन्यामने sarire. The meaning and the purport of this verse is the same as in the Bhagavad Gita, but here is the verse. Here in this verse, there's one special word, vipaschit, which means learned or the knowledge or with knowledge. The soul is full of knowledge or full always with consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is the symptom of soul. Even if one does not find the soul within the heart where he is situated, one can still understand the presence of the soul simply by the presence of consciousness. Sometimes we do not find the sun in the sky owing to clouds or for some other reasons, but the light of the sun is always there, and we are convinced that it is therefore daytime. As soon as there is a little light in the sky early in the morning, we can understand that the sun is in the sky. Similarly, since there is some consciousness in all bodies, whether man or animal, we can understand the presence of the soul. This consciousness of soul is, however, the different from the consciousness of the Supreme, because the Supreme consciousness is all knowledge, past, present, future. The consciousness of the individual soul is prone to be forgetful,
Hmm?
when he is forgetful of Krishna. If so, Krishna's teaching of Bhagavad Gita would be used. Minute particle soul, Anuatma Vibhuat. Anor Anyan Mahato Mahayan Atmasya Janatar Nihito Guhayam Tam Akrituhu Pasyati Vitasoko Dhatu Prasadan Mahimanam Atmana. Both the super soul Paramatma and the atomic soul Jivatma are situated on the same tree of the body within the same heart of the living being, and only one has become free from all material desires as well as lamentations can, by the grace of Supreme, understand the glories of the soul. Krishna is the fountainhead of Super Soul also, as it will be disclosed in the following chapters, and Arjuna is the atomic soul forgetful of his real nature. Therefore, he requires to be enlightened by Krishna or by his bona fide representative, the spiritual master.
Verse is a very famous verse. Anoraniyam mahato mahiyan atmasajanto nihato guhayam samakrito pashyati vita shoko dhatu prasadan mahimanam atmanaha. Yeah, so this conscious soul is how different. So supreme consciousness is all knowledge, means he knows everything, past, present, future. The conscious individual is prone to be forgetful, but he is forgetful of his real nature. He obtains education that will for the superior lessons of Krishna. When he is forgetful, he can obtain education, enlightenment for the superior lessons, and can also become enlightened. But Krishna is not like a forgetful soul. So this is very important. One who has become free from all material desires and values of limitation can, by the grace of the Lord, understand the glory of the Lord. So if we are not free, then we have to work on freeing ourselves by performing Tivra Bhakti, taking firm shelter. Krishna Pandya Spiritual also, and it is disclosed in the following chapter. Arjuna the atomic soul forgetful of his nature, but he requires to be enlightened by Krishna. Okay, so we are done to the 20th verse. We can start tomorrow. Tomorrow 5:30 to 7:30. Is that okay? So all of you can unmute and just say Hare Krishna Mahamantra together. Everybody please. First let
Hare Krishna Prabhu, tomorrow what time?
tomorrow also 5:30 to 7:30.
Okay, Monday. Yeah.
Who's there? Who asked?
Kiran Mathur.
Oh, okay. This is your first session, I think, right?
No, I've been attending all sessions except Thursday.
Oh, but yesterday you were not there, I think, right?
Thursday I was not there.
But we did not do yesterday, no? We did.
Yeah, you didn't do yesterday.
Oh,
I was
yesterday,
not there.
yesterday we did though, I think.
Yes, we did yesterday as well.
What time?
Saturday. We did yesterday. You were not there, I think, yesterday.
What time was it? Yeah, I did. I missed it. 5:30 to 7:30. I missed it.
So you missed Thursday and Saturday. I think you did the Tuesday one, I think.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
So is it okay? It's going good?
It's going good. I watched the Thursday one on YouTube.
Oh, full
I
2
have
hours.
to, yeah. I have to listen to you the Saturday one on YouTube now.
Oh, so 2 hours you heard full, huh? Thursday?
Why not?
My God. Can't believe so much. Very nice. Okay, so let us all chant once Hare Krishna mantra. Please unmute everyone and loudly chant everyone together. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Rama Rama,
Chant
Hare
more. Hare Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Hare Rama, Rama
Rama
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Rama
Hare
Rama,
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare
Rama, Hare
Rama, Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Hare,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
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 Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama, Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Hare.
Hare
Everyone,
Hare,
please. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Hare,
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Hare,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
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 Hare Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
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 Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare
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 Krishna,
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 Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare.
Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama,
Thank
Ram Ram,
you. Thank
Hare
you so
Hare.
much.
Krishna.
Thank you.